Hello, YouTube, and welcome to The Real Siberius. On this episode, I'm going to talk about Dennis Rodman. I didn't even plan on making a video today. I was just going to relax, do my own thing. But I happened to look down at the shirt I was wearing. It's a Dennis Rodman shirt. And I thought, you know what? I haven't done a video on Rodman yet. How's that even possible? So if you don't know, because I've mentioned it in a few other videos, Dennis Rodman is my favorite player of all time. It's not close, and I think there are other players that are a lot better than him. But without question, he is my favorite player. Why is he my favorite player? Because I personally think he is one of the best defenders to ever play the game, especially rebounding and shutting down the best player on the other team. And I have the utmost respect for that. To me, and this is just my personal opinion, defense is what makes sports great. Because if you're like Jordan and you can still be great against great defense, to me, that's greatness. Greatness against mediocre defense or against no defense, to me, that's not impressive. You have to earn greatness. You have to overcome the challenge. And I think Rodman was one of the best defenders, period. There was a time that Jordan and the Bulls couldn't get past the Pistons, and Rodman was a huge part of that. He's also a super weird guy, and I'm a super weird guy, so I always appreciated that about him. I am unapologetically myself, and so is he. So I just always felt like he was a kindred spirit. When I read his book, Bad As I Want to Be, I felt like I related to a lot of it, even though we had very different upbringings in very different parts of the world. There were a lot of similarities. And so I just felt an immediate kinship to him. And I originally hated him because I've been a Bulls fan since 1984. So I hated the Pistons. They were the bane of my existence, and I wished hateful things on them all throughout the 80s and 90s. I had to respect their game. Some people say that they were dirty. Yeah. I mean, their fouls were pretty egregious. I think oftentimes they were trying to hurt people. And I don't necessarily think that's the way the game should be played. But I like physical defense. I don't care if people get a bruise or a bloody nose. I personally think that's how the game should be played. Now, do people need broken bones or head injuries or serious injuries? Absolutely not. And that was certainly where they took it too far sometimes. So as I have been a fan of Dennis Rodman, I have collected some memorabilia over the years, and I just wanted to share it because it's things that I am extremely proud of. So I was just going to show a few of them. This is by no means to flex. It's taken me 40 years, 35 years to accumulate all of this. I'm by no means a wealthy man. In fact, quite the opposite. But all of these things are very important to me. So the first one is I have an autographed jersey of his, and it hangs on my wall. I am very proud to have it there, and I love that it's kind of a conversation piece when people come over to my house for the first time. I have his autographed rookie card, which is another prized possession of mine. And it happens to be Gem Mint 10, which I was very adamant about because I would never sell it. So quite frankly, its value or worth, its monetary value or worth doesn't mean anything to me. But I feel like I am helping preserve this piece of history. I have an autographed ball from him from when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. And it is a centerpiece in my living room and is held in high esteem. And then lastly is an autographed Funko Pop. Again, sits in my living room on a shelf and is held in reverence. Now, I only show those things to show that I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I'm certainly not a fanboy. I can acknowledge Rodman's faults and flaws, of which there are plenty, but I have lots of flaws as well. So I can still respect him. I absolutely respect his game. I have some more memorabilia, but some of it was a little bit hard to get to, or I tried to take pictures of, and it just didn't look great. So I decided to pass on that. But he's my favorite player. I did want to give a shout out to Joseph Vincent, the YouTube channel. He just did an amazing video on Rodman. It's called Bad Boy Rodman. It was just released a few weeks ago, and it is absolutely top notch. If you haven't seen it, if you are a fan of Rodman, I absolutely recommend checking it out because it is stellar. Obviously, if you haven't seen The Last Dance, episode 3 is about Dennis Rodman, and they do a really good job of showing his value, his worth, what he brought to the team, what he brought to the game of basketball. And certainly if you haven't seen his Hall of Fame speech, I absolutely recommend watching that as well. I just think he is a great player. I think he represents defense that quite frankly doesn't exist anymore, especially from his position at his height. He just had a motor that didn't quit. And I think he absolutely earned the nickname The Worm because he was typically up your ass and there was nothing that you could do about it. I don't think anyone else has ever held Shaq to 2.5 points other than Dennis Rodman. And that's high praise. Also, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. There's a lot of statistical analysis of him that I won't go over because, quite frankly, I'm not very good at it. I lack the technical skill to present it in a way that's particularly interesting. And there are just people that could do it better than I could, like Joseph Vincent. He did an absolutely amazing video, so I strongly recommend checking that out. Anyway, I just wanted to make a video about my favorite player to show him the respect that I have for him and to hopefully give him his flowers, because I don't think a lot of younger NBA fans are aware of him. They may be aware of his name, but I don't necessarily know if they're aware of his game. So I strongly recommend not only watching highlights, which is great, but also watching full games. He just didn't quit the entire game. He never, ever took plays off. He never, ever load managed. He just gave it 110% on the court at all times. And I just have the utmost respect for that. So anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I want to give a shout out to the content creators that continue to inspire me with this channel, with their takes, with their perspective, with their humor. Uncommon Sense, Angry Old Hoops, Self-Researched NBA Facts, 93Z, Sports and Fitness Rants, Uncut Hoops, Scap Attack, The Basketball Show, Steam Engine, In Your Face Hoops, Eddie TV. I just want to say thank you to you all. Without you, this channel wouldn't exist. And I'll catch you in the next one.